Hey, fifth graders. Nice to see you again. Or I guess I can't see you, but nice to be recording for you again. All right, so today we're going to be doing session 2, a video for session 2, and this one's going to be a little bit longer than our previous ones, just because we're going to be classifying and organizing 7 different shapes into a Venn diagram. So in our session 1 video, we were giving 3 different shapes, and we were asked to classify them in a Venn diagram. Okay. Today's going to be a little bit trickier just because we have the 7 shapes. Okay. But we're going to follow all of our rules that we've established since lesson 28 videos. Okay. So in a hierarchy, which is a Venn diagram, the outermost circle is our most general polygons. Our innermost circle is the most specific polygons. So, for example, most general meaning the least amount of attributes. Okay, so let's just say quadrilateral. Quadrilateral has one attribute and one attribute only, and that is a 4-sided figure. That's it. Then if we go into our most innermost, I'll give it away right off the bat, is going to be a square. Because it has the most attributes, it's the most specific shape that we have. It not only has 4 sides, it also has 2 sets of parallel lines, it also has 4 right angles, and it has all 4 sides of equal length, meaning that is 4 attributes, okay, meaning the most specific, and that would be in the innermost of our Venn diagram. But before we get too far ahead, we're going to be looking at page 591, I think. Yep, 591. Okay. So make sure you turn to that page in your packet and follow along with us with pen, paper, and pencil. Okay, guys, let's look at our directions too. Now that I've introduced what we're doing today, it's going to be sort these shapes into the Venn diagram below to show the relationships among parallelograms, squares, rectangles, rhombuses, and quadrilaterals. Now, if I look up here, we have 5 different categories of shapes. Okay, that's going to be important because if you count the number of polygons we actually have to sort, there's 7. So what you'll end up doing is noticing that you're going to have to find multiple shapes that fit into one category. Okay? Alright, last part of directions is use at least one shape in each region of the diagram. Classify the shapes by labeling each region with the category name. So what I'm thinking we're going to do is let's just look at the different categories and label them in the Venn diagram. Then, once we know what is the most general and what's the most specific, we'll know how to categorize all the different labeled shapes. Okay? So we're going to look at parallelograms, square, rectangles, rhombuses, and quadrilaterals. And I already gave you 2. Okay? So the first one, the most general, which is going to be on our outside of our Venn diagram, is quadrilaterals, because the only attribute it needs is 4 sides. So quadrilaterals goes on the very outside. Quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals. Okay, I always struggle spelling some of these. Alright, very good. Now, let's think about our next most general category. So I'm looking, and I notice I have parallelograms, squares, rectangles, and rhombuses. Now, I already gave you squares is the most specific because it has the most attributes. 4 sides, 2 parallel lines, 4 right angles, and 4 sides of equal length. So let's actually get rid of that one in our innermost. Okay? Now, backtrack up to our next most general. I'm left with rectangles, rhombuses, parallelograms. Now, if I look at rectangles and rhombuses, I can think of 3 attributes. I can think of they're both 4-sided. Okay? They both need 2 sets of parallel lines. And in rectangles, you need 4 right angles, and in rhombuses, you need 4 sides of equal length. I can think of 3 attributes, if not maybe 4. Okay? Now, when I think of parallelograms, it only has 2. It needs 4 sides, and it needs 2 sets of parallel lines. So, being that it only has 2 attributes, parallelograms is our next most general after quadrilaterals. So, I put I always forget if it's 2 L's. Parallelograms. Nice. Okay. Now I'm left with 2 rectangles and rhombuses. And I have 2 boxes left, and they have of equal specific or specific attributes? I would say 3. Even if you went, rectangles could possibly have 4 attributes because they need 2 sides of equal length. But we're going to go with 3. So a rectangle would be the next most specific, and then rhombus would also be of equal specifics. So rhombuses, and we know that a combination of rhombus and rectangle makes a square. So we've created our Venn diagram with our categories. Now the next part of the direction says classify and categorize all of these 7 shapes. So let's use those attributes to actually do so. Okay, I'm going to start with quadrilaterals. So if I look at all these shapes, it's almost to better understand what a parallelogram, rectangles, rhombuses, and squares are to help you classify the quadrilaterals. So I know that I'm looking for shapes without parallel lines, I'm looking for shapes without right angles, and I'm looking for shapes without sides of equal length. Okay? So let's look and eliminate the ones that have parallel lines, right angles, and sides of equal length. If I look at B, 2 sets of parallel sides. Can't be that one. C, 4 right angles, 2 parallel sides. D, same thing. E, parallel sides. F, right angles and parallel sides. Now if I look at A and G, there's no sides of equal length, there's no right angles, and there's no parallel sides. So technically, all they have is 4 sides, making them simply quadrilaterals. A and G. Good. Alright. Now, I'm looking for parallelograms. Now this one is going to be tricky, and it threw me off the first time I looked at it. Okay? Because a rhombus is a parallelogram, but what makes a rhombus is because it's a parallelogram with 4 sides of equal length. So if I look at these, I notice that I need to get rid of anything with right angles, because parallelograms do not have right angles. So let's get rid of C, D, and F. Okay, I'm not looking at those, I'm getting rid of those in the parallelogram category because they have right angles. Parallelograms do not have right angles. Okay, now I'm looking at B and E. Now, right off the bat, I see 4 sides, and I see 2 sets of parallel sides. So I know that's a parallelogram. So I'm going to classify letter B in parallelograms. But when I look at E, it is a parallelogram, but what do you notice about all the sides? If you're looking closely, you'll notice that all 4 sides are of equal length, which is the last attribute of a rhombus. 4 sides, 2 sets of parallel lines, and all 4 sides are of equal length, making it a rhombus. Bingo. So we hit 2 birds with 1 stone right there. Alright? Okay, now we have 3 different shapes left. So let's go to the most next specific, which would be rectangle. Okay? And I notice C and F show characteristics because they have 4 sides, 2 sets of parallel lines, 4 right angles, and 2 sides of equal length. So C and F are both rectangles. C and F. And then our most specific, which you probably got right off the bat, would be a square. And that is letter D because 4 sides, 2 sets of parallel lines, 4 right angles, and 4 sides of equal length. Now guys, if this is sounding confusing because I went through it extremely quickly, make sure you just Google different polygons and their qualities. Okay? And the more attributes they have, the more specific they are. Okay? In a hierarchy, like a Venn diagram. Okay? Hopefully this was helpful. If you need to rewatch it, feel free to do so, because this video, compared to others, is going to help for most of the homework from here on out. Alright guys, have a good rest of your day.